Good morning. Iran, early this morning, targeted a UAE tanker into the Strait of Hormuz. The United Arab Emirates said in a statement Saturday. The targeted vessel belongs to the state owned Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. Iran has imposed a blockade on the strait and is desiring to impose fees on users who are transiting the strait, something which the United States is in opposition to. The UAE condemned the attack on its vessel, saying in its statement that there was a hostile Iranian attack that targeted a tanker belonging to ADNOC with a missile while it was transiting the Strait of Hormuz without causing casualties. The ADNOC issued a statement yesterday claiming that since the beginning of the war in February, 15 of its vessels have been attacked into the strait, including three vessels this week alone. Despite the Iranian attack on the UAE vessel transiting the strait, Oman says that talks with Iran over the management of the strait are still ongoing and are making progress. Oman issued a statement of their own in which they condemned the attack. However, the statement said the ongoing negotiations regarding arrangements related to navigation into the Strait of Hormuz are proceeding in a positive and constructive atmosphere and emphasizes the importance of avoiding any actions that could affect these negotiations and the progress achieved, which takes into account the interests of all parties. Earlier this morning, the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that discussions with Oman were approaching the final stages. However, he also said that this is not a sign of the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. He continued, referencing the June Memorandum of Understanding between the United States and Iran. The reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is subject to other conditions and compensation for the violation of the Memorandum of Understanding by the United States. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps emphasized this point in another statement, saying, the opening of the Strait of Hormuz has its own mechanism and has nothing to do with the negotiations between Iran and Oman. The IRGC statement continued, the enemy is forced to accept Iran's conditions for the opening of the strait and to refrain from the interference that it is currently making into the negotiations, which have almost reached their end between Iran, Oman, and other countries. Bahrain is demand, Bahrain is demanding that the United Nations Security Council step up and compel Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and seize attack on commercial shipping to preserve regional and global security. After the attack on the tanker, Qatar has also condemned the Iranian attack on the UAE tanker, saying in a statement, the state of Qatar strongly condemns the Iranian attack that targeted an Emirati tanker affiliated with the ADNOC company with a missile while it was passing through the Strait of Hormuz, and considers it a flagrant violation of the rules of international law and freedom of maritime navigation and a blatant breach of UN Security Council Resolution 2817. On Friday, the Trump administration announced a new round of Iranian sanctions targeting Iran's banking system, as well as companies across multiple countries, which the Treasury Department says is laundering hundreds of millions of dollars. In a statement, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that every facilitator that keeps the regime afloat is putting a target on its own back. Treasury will continue to expose these networks and cut them off from the U.S. financial system. And now, my word, the Middle East is a complete mess, and Iran doesn't appear to have been brought to its knees with the consistent bombing. that has been paused in order to give diplomacy a chance. In fact, not only does Iran not appear to be anywhere close to surrendering, they appear to be emboldened. Indeed, they see the United States as weak and believe that they can dictate terms to the United States. They definitely they definitely aren't taking President Trump seriously. You cannot bargain with them, and appeasement does not work. Senator Cruz is correct. Our objective in this conflict must be regime collapse and an effective unconditional surrender. To quote General Douglas MacArthur, in war, there is no substitute for victory.